Pat Ragazzo of Sports Illustrated reveals what he is hearing the New York Mets offseason is going to entail, and let me tell you, you're probably not going to be happy. Plus, a pitcher that I have been clamoring for the New York Mets to go after looks like he's going to be available. Let's give it a look next on Metcast. What's going on, Met fans? Welcome back to another episode of Metcast. As always, I am Rain. If you're enjoying this content, all I ask you to do is like and subscribe. Turn those notifications on so you never miss any of the New York Mets news that you need to know. And there's no secret that David Stearns is going to have his hands full when it comes to this offseason. He has major decisions to be made. Second base, first base, the entire bullpen, closing pitcher, getting a frontline starter, adding depth to this starting pitching staff, determining whether or not Brett Beatty is a future third baseman, second baseman, what's going to happen in center field. Is Francisco Alvarez the actual answer at catcher? There's a million questions to be answered. And one thing that I'm hearing from all the league sources that I've spoken to is that a lot of teams are going to be taking 2027 into big consideration, which in my opinion, probably hurts us as New York Mets fans because we all know David Stearns does not like to sign those older players. And if you're going to potentially or inevitably go after one of those older players with the potential of 2027 being a complete miss and that contract being extended or being pushed into 2028 only makes someone a year older. But let's get into it. A pitcher that I have been saying the New York Mets should pursue in the trade market outside of free agency looks like he's going to be available, and I'm not talking about Tariq Skubal. Let's give it a look.
The one star player that is most likely going to be traded and wearing a new uniform next season.
So I've been pondering this question, Sierra, for a long time today, and here's my answer. Joe Ryan, Minnesota Twins. Now, they made a bunch of moves at the deadline. We know this.
He wasn't one of them.
One move they did not make. And so if you're going to be in something of a rebuild, retool, you've got Derek Shelton coming in as your manager. Now, of course, Derek has some tenure with the organization before. Then he went to manage the Pirates. Now he's back. This seems to me to be a move that the Twins can make. We know this, that in the last hours.
And I'm telling you guys this. We talked about Dylan Cease being a potential move for the New York Mets last offseason, and we confirmed, or it's confirmed throughout MLB, that the Mets did check in on him. Joe Ryan is a better Dylan Cease. He is younger. He is under control. He's going to cost a lot. Make no bones about it. Obviously not as much as Tariq Skubal or a Peralta from the Brewers. He's going to still cost a lot. I mean, you see the mock trades out there for Skubal. You're talking Tung, Sproat, Benj, Williams, the entire farm for potential rental. Could it be a Jonah Tung straight up for a Ryan and a younger prospect? I could see something like that happening for the Mets.
Before the trade deadline, the Boston Red Sox were heavily involved in trying to acquire this man, Joe Ryan. I would say the Cubs also potentially a fit. Look at a club like the Padres. When have they ever been shy, Sierra, about making a move? And we know that with some moves they've had there, Michael King opting out, Dylan Cease a free agent, they have some rotation spots to fill. So usually when you think about this stage of the offseason, I actually tend to think, Sierra, that the names that we could see on the trade market for pitchers are a little bit better than the free agent names.
Yep.
So when that's the case,
it also goes down to age as well. Michael King, going to be 30. You have Cease, going to be 30. You have all these guys who are free agents. Framber is in his mid-30s. All the top-end guys. That's the issue is. And now you know also why the Mets waited so long to bring up Nolan McNeil, because by going past that August deadline, it gave them a 6th year of controllability. McNeil won't be a free agent until I believe he's like 31 now instead of 29 like a lot of these guys.
I think you see a heavy volume of conversations beginning next week in Las Vegas. We'll be there with on-site coverage there. Can't wait to be there at the GM meetings.
And just a heads up, we will be doing a lot of live work during the GM meetings. I have several beat writers on call that we will be having not only on this show, but if there's major breaking news, potentially coming on the show live to talk with you guys live. So make sure you become a member to be locked in, to guarantee your voice to be heard during our live streams, because we all know all mayhem could break loose. And make sure you have those notifications on so you know when something breaks, I go live right away so you can get involved in the conversation.
But I expect Joe Ryan's name is going to be a very popular one next week, and maybe alongside a fellow right-hander for a Midwestern club, Freddie Peralta in Milwaukee. We'll talk about him, I'm sure, next week.
And here's my thing. I think Peralta is a lock to get traded. And that's what you have right there. Joe Ryan is a pitcher to watch. I think he will be moved and probably be moved next week. I keep hearing from everyone I talk to, the Mets are not going to sit around as they did last year. They're going to be aggressive early. Whether or not it's the names that we want remains to be seen. Because look, outside of Juan Soto and Pete Alonso last year, a lot of names that we wanted, we did not get. And some of them actually worked out. You know, they went after AJ Minter instead of the lefty Scott, who went to the Dodgers, but a terrible year. So it ended up working out for us there. But now we're going to get to our next segment, and it's about the Mets offseason, their plans, and Pete Alonso, where he could potentially land outside of New York. Our boy Pat Ragazzo over at Sports Illustrated just chopped up an article within the last few minutes. Let's break it down. So Pat Ragazzo just released this article headline, what I'm hearing about the Mets offseason plans. This is what I'm hearing about the New York Mets offseason plans. Let's get right into it. Changes are likely coming to the New York Mets this offseason. Here's what I'm hearing regarding the team's plans this winter after missing out on the postseason in 2025. According to a rival NL scout, the Mets recognize their clubhouse is in need of a culture shift, something we talked about on this platform a million times. Every single source that I have that works in the clubhouse every single day and covers the team told me it was a regular clubhouse. But from an outsider's perspective, we all knew that was simply not the case. Culture shift following last season's slow collapse. The explanation is that the Mets will float utility man Jeff McNeil on the trade market, something that we've been talking about for a couple of months now. We're hearing the exact same thing, and let franchise cornerstone first baseman Pete Alonso walk in free agency unless he takes a friendly deal. Let me highlight that for you guys right there. Walk in free agency unless he gives the Mets a friendly deal. And that is something that I'm hearing as well. And I hate to say that because I think it could be interpreted a couple of different ways. The Mets are not going to allow what happened last year with Pete Alonso to happen again this year. They're not going to wait till after the winter meetings, after the GM meetings, after Christmas to finally engage with Pete Alonso. They're not going to do that. They're not going to wait around. Something we need to watch right there. McNeil, 33, has 1 year, $15.275 left on that contract and is coming off a solid campaign. Don't forget, Pat, there's also, I believe, a team club option for the following year where he slashed 243, 335, 411, and a 746 OPS in 122 games. He also has a club option, there you go, attached to him for 2027 at 15.75 as well. This wouldn't be the first time that the Mets discussed a trade for McNeil, who could play second in all the outfield spots, and dare I say also third base, but I'll add that in myself. As for Alonso, the Mets all-time leader in home runs, he endured a major bounce back in 2025, slugging 38 long balls, batting .272, posting an .871 OPS, and production of a 141 WRC plus. Let me explain to you guys how good that is. WRC plus is anything at 100 is league average. 100 is league average. So anything over a little bit, slightly above league average as a player as a whole. Having a 141 WRC plus is an amazing. That is a Hall of Fame trajectory right there. In 162 games, without having a qualifying offer attached to him, Alonso will likely get paid handsomely in free agency, and it remains to be seen whether the Mets are comfortable giving the soon-to-be 31-year-old first baseman a long-term contract. And that's something that we spoke about a lot. Stearns, if he had his choice, probably wouldn't have had him back last year. And I don't think Cohen's going to get involved this year. I just don't see it happening. Alonso signed a 2-year, $54 million deal, including a 2026 opt-out, which he obviously used. With the Mets last year, he opted out after the season to retest his market. Don't be surprised if the Mets are heavily in on versatile Cody Bellinger in free agency, given there's a need for defense in both center field and first base. Bellinger also a fit for the Mets due to his ability to handle New York market, which he showed while playing for the Yankees this past season. I agree on that. Bellinger, though, scares the heck out of me. If you haven't already, go check the back of his baseball card. He's great, bad, great, bad, great. I'm nervous as all hell because he's probably going to get a 7 or 8 year deal. He's probably going to get a richer deal than Alonso because of the age, the versatility, the defense, all over the place. The guy's a hell of a defender, could play any outfield position, can play first base. Elite closer Edwin Diaz, who is surely to decline the 2205 qualifying offer, which you already did. Free agent, as well as opting out of the remaining 2 years of his deal. However, Diaz market might not be as robust considering the league's reluctance to pay top dollar for relief pitching. Diaz also has the qualifying offer attached to him, meaning a team would have to surrender a draft pick to the Mets in order to sign him. Maybe have a little bit of a Alonso situation as last year, although I do believe Diaz's value is way higher. One of the best relievers in all of baseball, best closers in all of baseball, top 3 in my mind, no doubt about it. After an up and down 2024 season, Diaz returned to dominant form last year, going 28 for 31 on save chances, 163 ERA, 98 strikeouts, and 66 and a third utter dominance. The Mets, Yankees, San Diego Padres, Texas Rangers are all expected to be in on Diaz services. Guys, and it's funny because I just put that out there yesterday. I actually think the Mets will be prioritizing Diaz well over Alonso, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want Pete Alonso to retire a New York Met and set records for years to come. But we can't just ignore David Stearns as a GM. He has certain values he holds true. I also think the fact that Ryan Clifford made his way through the minor leagues so fast last year at 22 years old, lefty power hitting first base and best raw power talent in our system, might just put Pete out the door. And I hope that's not the case. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, let's go Mets. God bless.